Hey, 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 happy Monday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of the Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, March 28th, 2022. This is live stream 769. 69, dude. If your first time joining me, let me point out, super casual around here, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then we take a look at a tabletop game, or every once in a while I'll do a review. So tonight, I am going to take a first look and page through the Fading Suns 4th edition character book from Ulisses Spiele. Yes, I received the slipcase set plus other Fading Suns goodies. So we are going to dive in. This is going to be a Fading Suns week here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. So stay tuned. We're going to jump on into that in just a little bit. So once again, if this is your first time joining me, I do want to point out as well that we talk about the tabletop gaming news first. So if you are checking out this stream so you can see the character book, keep in mind it'll be about 25, 30 minutes, maybe a little more than 30 minutes, because I have tons of gaming news tonight that we are going to be talking about. So about 30, 35 minutes. If you're watching this after the fact, 30 minutes or more after this stream ends, don't have to worry about anything because there will be timestamps so you can jump ahead. If you want to skip the news and just jump right into the first look, by all means, you'll be able to. And depending on the device you're using, those timestamps might actually even be on the timeline of the video itself. Otherwise, they are in the show notes that you'll find below. So I want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Empire of the Ghouls for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons from Cubicle Press. Good stuff, Maynard. Check it out. Actually commented about if you're disappointed in the recent output from Wizards of the Coast for Dungeons & Dragons and you've never checked out the adventures over at Cubicle Press, you might owe it to yourself to do so because they are quite different in style, that's for sure. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. One of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you do also have to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. That is another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, by all means, fire away. If you got a question, a comment, hit me up. I will do my best to respond. So far, first out the gate tonight is the Motor City Madman himself. That's right. It is the Madman. He is one of our chat moderators as well. So he is with us. Sarah D has poked her head out to say hello, saying happy Monday is an oxymoron. Yeah, sometimes, depending on what you do, depending on how you spend your Mondays. For years and years, when I was a bartender, I had Mondays off. I kept Mondays free, and that was my day to head down to all the used bookstores and go out and treat myself to a nice lunch and a couple of adult beverages and that. That's how I used to spend my Mondays. I spent that for like 10 years. I didn't work on Mondays. Pretty wild. All right. Anywho, before we get started tonight, I do want to apologize. For those of you who were watching the Academy Awards last night, I'm the one who supplied Chris Rock with the Jada Smith joke. I know. It wasn't a very good joke. It's all my fault. And I'm sorry. What craziness that was. I wasn't even watching live, and I got like a notification. It was like, Will Smith slaps Chris Rock. And I was like, what? It's like, what the hell is that? And I looked and I was like, oh, brother. Let me just say I am not a Will Smith fan. I know things about him that aren't like common knowledge, I don't think. He and his wife are actually very weird and creepy. So, and Chris Rock everybody's always said he's a pretty cool dude. Yes, it was a crappy joke. It was not a good joke at all. And it was in poor taste. But Chris Rock is a comedian, and they had Chris Rock on the Oscars so he could pull off some zingers. That's why he was there. Wasn't a good zinger, but to jump up there and slap him, for one, Will Smith slapped him. Most people, when they just pop him, boom. But I got to admit, Chris Rock, boy, he barely moved, and he just picked it right back up. It's like, yes, we're here to give away a documentary. And he's like, Oscar for Best Documentary. That was some good professionalism there. Andy Sykes and Clint Gibson have joined us in chat as well. Good to see you. Let's get chat off and running on the Happy Monday, which, according to Sarah, is an oxymoron. Got a lot of news tonight as Doug Roberts pops on in. Let's start off because arriving in April from Redshift Games is Taco Apocalypse. Here's the skinny. Serve up the best mutated foods in the fast-paced drafting game Taco Apocalypse. Build combo plates that need to be sold before they eat you. And always be ready to scramble for the wasteland's best condiments. Push your luck to score big, but beware the monstrous Chupacabra. In more detail, each turn players select a food card from their hand. All players reveal their card simultaneously and either begin a combo plate or add to their already existing one. A player's combo plate must consist of all the same or different food cards, so all the same or all different. If a card is played that cannot be added, then the combo plate is discarded without scoring it. When any two players play the same food card, all players attempt to grab a condiment card. Will you get the nuclear hot sauce to enhance your plate, make your opponents fill up on chips and dip, or unleash the dreaded, monstrous Chupacabra? There's always one fewer condiment card on the table than the number of players. These cards allow for greater scoring, opponent bashing, and multiple scoring options. Players then score any combo plates they wish, then pass their hand to the player on the left. This draft and play continues until the hands run out. Play as many rounds as you wish, then the player with the highest score wins. Taco Apocalypse is for 3 to 6 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in around 20 to 30 minutes. It's It's going to carry an MSRP of $14.99 when it arrives on April 20th. I got to admit, this looks kind of fun. I like the art style. I like the art style for these food cards, these mutated food cards. Pretty bizarre, I must say. Now up on the GMT Games P500 pre-order list is Henry, the Agincourt campaign. Yes, I know how to pronounce Agincourt. 1415. Here's the latest on the war game. In Henry, the fifth game in Volku Runke's Levian campaign series, players will bring to life all of the drama of the famous Agincourt campaign. Players will lead either the English forces of King Henry V or the French nobility in the levying of forces, management of logistics, and campaigning through northern France. Designed by Joe Schmidt, Henry aims to create a more streamlined version of Levian campaign that is equally suitable for someone's first experience or a quicker lunchtime gaming session. I would think that's probably going to be a long lunch. The English player will build their army at the onset of the game and, in doing so, set their victory conditions based on these choices and then begin their campaign. While the English march through Normandy, the French nobles will need to rapidly respond by levying their forces and navigating the internal court politics of their ongoing civil war between the Armagnac and Burgundian forces. Then, once ready for battle, the French will attempt to hunt down and prevent King Hal and his happy few from returning home. Historical games always offer us the ability to change the course of history, but this Levian campaign system offers us something more focused on the human element. Humans need to be fed. That food needs to be both secured and transported. Without that, even the greatest armies will fail. Henry endeavors to lift the veil of the mythology. Mythology? Yeah, it's like, no, it's mythology. But it's not spelled right. It's like, what the hell word is that? At the Battle of Agincourt, to offer a more detailed look into the circumstances that created the legend. Henry, the Agincourt campaign 1415, is for 1 or 2 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 1 to 3 hours, and is available at the pre-order price right now of $49. It's going to have an eventual MSRP of $69. One thing I do want to mention, unfortunately, not a whole lot to share as far as images from this, but as far as I understand, this is supposed to be a much easier Levian campaign series entry. And I will be the first to point out that the previously released Levian campaign games that I have taken a look at are really, really dense. And a lot of people have picked them up and have been unable to wrap their heads around the rules. So I did see some comments from the designer talking about that. Yes, the game plan for this is to be a much more streamlined and easily accessible entry into the Levy and Campaign series. Omenal and Disavowed 92 are with us in chat. Howdy, howdy, gang. Welcome aboard, gents. So I don't usually talk too much about video games, PC games mainly. But there is an amazing humble bundle that's being offered right now. It features one of my favorite PC games. It is the award-winning strategy game Europa Universalis 4 from Paradox Interactive, and I've got the deets on the deal. A grand collection of grand strategy. Master the arts of war, diplomacy, and trade over centuries of history in Paradox Interactive's landmark grand strategy game, Europa Universalis 4. This bundle features the acclaimed core game and more than 30 add-ons that span the game's own rich history. Plus, your purchase helps support World Central Kitchen and their efforts to provide food relief to the people of Ukraine. Choose between Steam or Epic Games Store keys for every expansion, content pack, and immersion pack through 2021's Leviathan, the Ultimate Unit Pack, and Ultimate Music Pack. Plus, get an exclusive discount on the most recent immersion pack, Origins. Discover one of the most detailed historical strategy games ever made, or complete your EU4 collection. I'm going to share a video that's celebrating the 8th anniversary of Europa Universalis 4. It's fairly quick, so kick back, give it a watch. Right now, you can score essentially everything that Paradox Interactive has released for EU4 outside of the last immersion pack. For a minimum $20 donation, yes, you heard me right, 20 bucks will get you over $400 worth of DLC for Europa Universalis 4. You can get the core game for $1. If you have never played Europa Universalis 4 and you like history games, if you like grand strategy games, then you are really missing out. This is an excellent game. I really, really enjoy Europa Universalis 4. I just can't say it. I just can't pronounce it. You're not going to want to miss out on this bundle because it only runs through April 13th. So keep that in mind. But once again, $1 gets you the core game. 20 bucks gets you almost everything. And here's the other thing. If you already have EU4, but you didn't pick up a bunch of DLC, this is the perfect opportunity to get all of that DLC. And Paradox Interactive, their DLC is always good. Okay, every once in a while it's like, eh. Problem is, it's pricey. So you don't have to worry about that with this bundle either. In fact, we got a few bundles to talk about tonight because there is a new bundle of holding that's arrived, and it features the Esoterrorists role-playing game from Pelgrane Press. And here's all the goodies about this deal. Operative! We've resurrected our November 2015 Esoterrorist bundle featuring the Esoterrorists role-playing game by Robin D. Laws from Pelgrane Press. What is going on? I can't read today? Jeez. The teleprompter's kind of hidden behind something tonight. I should have fixed that before I started the stream. But I don't think that's why I'm having a hard time talking. I'm so upset about, that joke on the Oscars that I gave to Chris Rock. I'm just really verklempt. As an Ordo Veritatis investigator, you defend modern day reality against occult terrorists who try to weaken the protective membrane and summon unremitting horrors from the outer dark. The gumshoe system, as seen in Trail of Cthulhu and Night's Black Agents, keeps your investigation on track. You'll never miss a clue through a failed die roll. This revived offer once again gives you everything you need, both PDFs and music, for your own campaign of heroic struggle against sinister world conspiracies. For just $8.95, you get all 4 titles in this Revival's player collection with a retail value of $44 as DRM-free PDFs and MP3 tracks, including the Esoterrorist Core Rulebook for both first and second editions, the Esoterror Fact Book, an indispensable reference for assets, protocols, psychogeography, membrane permeability, and techno-macho utterances. Not sure what techno-macho utterances are. And Dissonance, music for esoterists, 4 atmospheric tracks by composer James Semple for the Esoterists or any modern mystery game. If you pay more than the current threshold price of $18.06, you'll level up and also get this Revival's entire Game Master collection with 8 more titles worth an additional $75, including the Esoterror Summoning Guide. The Ordo Veritatis summarizes what it knows of the enemy's world-threatening methods. The Book of Unremitting Horror, the Gumshoe Edition, a boundary-crossing collection of truly disturbing modern monsters, several full-length Yep, English, Jeff. Learn it, use it, enjoy it. Several full-length esoterrorist campaigns, including the 2-part Albion's Ransom, Little Girl Lost, and Worm of 60 Winters, The Love of Money, Profane Miracles, Six Pact, and the complete world-spanning campaign by Robin D. Law's Worldbreaker. Score these savings through April 6th, and 10% of your payments will go towards the International Red Cross Fund for Ukraine. There you have it, a little modern horror. I have never dipped my toes into the esoterrorists, so I know very, very little about it outside of the fact that it uses the gumshoe system. And of course, if you're not familiar with that, it is an investigative system, and you do not roll dice to find clues. That's the big thing with Trail of Cthulhu, that you're never rolling dice. So you'll never miss clues, but you have to kind of spend like points. You have a pool and you can spend points to get clues. So it is possible that you don't get clues, but you won't miss the clues by not rolling good die rolls. Callahan Klatt is with us in chat. Good to see you, Callahan. So I told you we've got some money-saving bundles. Here's the third one, because there's currently a fantastic money-saving humble bundle for the excellent Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound role-playing game from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Here's what you need to know. Shape the future of the mortal realms. Take on the role of Soulbound and adventure across realms of high fantasy, magitech, steampunk, and post-apocalyptic horror in Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound, the thrilling tabletop role-playing game from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Get started with essential resources like the core rulebook. Delve deeper into the game universe with tomes like the Bestiary, Steam and Steel, and Stars and Scales. Steam and Steel is pretty new. Strike out on a journey into the city of Anvilgard in the 6-part Shadows in the Mist campaign. Plus, your purchase helps support Children's Health Ireland. You can score the core rulebook and 22 other PDFs for a simple donation of $18 or more. I think, off the top of my head, I think that's less than the PDF of the core rulebook alone. So you're looking at 23 PDFs, and I think there's also a 20% off Cubicle 7 Entertainment coupon that comes with this bundle. This bundle does run through April 14th, and once again, any proceeds will benefit Children's Health Ireland. Sweet. I have to point out, it includes the starter set, the core rule book, supplements, adventures. This bundle's got it all. And I gotta be honest, I'm not super familiar with Soulbound because that is my reviewer Sammy's forte. I have read the starter set, and it's pretty epic. It is pretty epic. If you like powerful characters, Soulbound is for you. You'll definitely dig it. All right, my final news piece. There is a new supplement which has arrived for the Witcher role-playing game from Talsorian Games. I've got the scoop on A Tome of Chaos, a celebration of the art, chaos, and science of magic. It's said that magic is equal parts art, chaos, and science, that it's a blessing, a curse, and progress itself. Through the notes of escaped Nilfgaardian director of magic, Glynis Vartriharn, you'll put this saying to the test, uncovering the secrets of the primal forces of magic. How will you use this primordial chaos, and how will it change you? A Tome of Chaos is a supplement for the Witcher tabletop role-playing game, which gives you a number of new spells, invocations, rituals, and hexes, as well as a collection of magic items, dark rituals, and magic miscellanea to take your game to new heights. Features new magic. Explore a library of new magic, including spells, invocations, rituals, hexes, signs, runes, glyphs, elixirs, and magic items. Bend dark forces to your will with rules for summoning the spirits of the dead, making deals with demons, and creating mutant monstrosities. Expand the boundaries of magic at your gaming table with the separate and expanded priest and druid professions, and new rules for granting mundane characters minor magical talents. And more. Learn how magic is taught across the continent. Follow the stories of director Von Triharn and experience the dangers of Goethe in a gripping adventure. I gotta be honest, I'm not super familiar with The Witcher. I've never played any of the games, nor read any of the books. Nothing against them, just never had an opportunity, never had a chance. This 216-page hardcover is available for an MSRP of $35, or you can grab the PDF itself, by itself, over at DriveThruRPG for $17.50. 245 Trioxins joined us in chat as well. Good to see you. So I'm glad to see another release for the Witcher tabletop role-playing game from Talsorian Games. Things have been kind of quiet. I mean, they had released a few supplements. I gotta be honest, off the top of my head, I am not sure if they've got a big adventure collection. I think there's been a few adventures, but I don't think they have anything that's like really big and epic for The Witcher. I'd like to see that because I know this was super popular. I reviewed the core game, and I personally thought it was a little undercooked. Maybe they've got a new edition out. Maybe they've done some revisions. I'm not sure. I would kind of hope so, but I was kind of in the minority. A lot of people liked it, so I don't know. 245 Tracks and says maybe they're waiting for season 2 to drop. Season 2 has dropped. Season 2 of The Witcher's been out for a while. So I watched the first episode and then I've ended up watching a bunch of other stuff. So because the first season I thought was all right. It was one of those shows where it's like, yeah, I guess I'll keep watching it. I had nothing better to do. I didn't think it was, fantastic or anything like that. I thought it was okay. All right, so I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you like the channel, if you feel thegaminggang.com is a valuable resource, if you like what we do, by all means, you can always buy me a cup of coffee or a soda by swinging on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. Also, I had some eBay auctions going on. I have really not enjoyed my experience as being a seller on eBay again. So what's up there now is going to be it. But what I am considering, because I got so many games that I just want to get into somebody else's hands, good homes where they're going to get played, because many of them are not going to see the light of day again on a gaming table with me and my group. So what I'm probably going to do over the weekend is just take a bunch of photographs, list it all off. If you're familiar with the auctions that I've done on the Gaming Gang previously, it's going to be like that, but it's not going to be an auction. It's going to be first come, first served. So, and I will update it from time to time as more stuff gets added to it. So that way, if somebody's like, oh, hey, yeah, I want that, they won't have to sit around waiting for, the auction to end, possibly getting outbid. So we'll see what happens with that. Madman says they're heading over to DriveThruRPG this evening because I want to pick up the Zobek Gazetteer, which I talked about in my review of Empire of the Ghouls. Yes. Yes, check out that review if you're interested. So we are going to dive into Fading Suns in just a couple of minutes. Did want to mention that the fine folks over at Modifius Entertainment sent me the tricorder collector's box for Star Trek role-playing. So we're going to actually dive into this next week because all this week we are looking at Fading Suns 4th edition. But did want to point out that I did receive it, and it seems like this is plastic. Seems like this is a plastic box. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and it looks like there might be like a little strap inside. So you would actually like put this over, put it on your shoulder like a shoulder bag, like a tricorder. So it's like, but it has the digest-sized core rulebook styled after the original series. I'll be the first to point out I have not reviewed anything for Star Trek since the core rulebook came out, when it was one book. Now I know it's broken into 2 books now. Looks like it's back to 1 book for this tricorder edition. And this has heft to it, but not enough heft to where I would think that it's a hardcover. I think it's a soft cover, kind of like a pocket sized is going to be my guess. Which my eyes are going to love that. Thank you so much. Yes, I have reading glasses, but thankfully I wear contacts that kind of alleviate the need for reading glasses, because once you start using reading glasses, that's it. You're always going to need them. So I try to stay away from them as much as possible. So Madman says, Christmas in April? Is that due to going over to DriveThruRPG? No. So we've got some other reviews than that on the horizon. They're percolating under the surface, so stay tuned. So we're going to jump into the character book for Fading Suns 4th edition right after a short intermission.
If going to a movie show is right for you, if candy eating and popcorn chewing's right for you, if what you do is right for you, no matter what the others do, then RC Cola is right for you. It's not too heavy, not too sweet, it's right for you. RC Cola. RC's just an easy going, right for you. RC Cola. If what you do is right for you, no matter what the others do, then RC Cola is right for you. It's right for you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here come Flavos, the delicious oriental treat that's out of this world for taste-tempting goodness. Light and delicious, full of tender, juicy, fresh shrimp meat. America's favorite shrimp rolls. Try Flavos. You'll say they're shrimply delicious.
Ah, yes. When you're ready for candy eating and popcorn chewing. It's like, what the hell? Plus, hey, get some Flavos, that wonderful oriental treat. Yeah, busting out the old drive-in and theater intermissions. So I had to laugh because the Royal Crown Cola, the RC, they're actually the folks who make the diet soda that I drink. I drink Diet Right. So I could have sworn RC is out of Chicago. I think they are local. But I also had to kind of chuckle because that first little ad, was that like 68, 69? Because they're showing Easy Rider. So, and then they're showing like some other movie. I was like, what the hell is that? And then they're standing in front of a movie poster. And it's like, what the hell is that? Yeah, there was movies that faded into oblivion. All right, so Flaming Huron has joined us in chat, saying that they had an appointment earlier, but they're actually arriving just in time. Kathy Evans is with us as well, saying howdy. Right, so chat's off and running. Sweet. So tonight I am going to start our Fading Suns 4th edition week by taking a look at the character book from Ulisses Spiele. The 316-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $49.99. It is available in a slipcase set, which is what I received from Ulisses Spiele, and that carries an MSRP of $129.99. That includes the character book, the Game Master book, and the Universe book. Or if you want to pick up the character book in PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Strangely enough, and it's not unusual for DriveThru to have the wrong page count. On DriveThru, they claim that it's 274 pages. It is 316 for the hardcover here. So I think DriveThru's got the wrong page count. Right, so let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the character book for Fading Suns. And of course, we'll point out the fine folks over at Ulisses Spiele did send me the series of Fading Suns books that we're going to be looking at all week long. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And it's very important that you know that these days. So we're going to take a look at the back. I just pulled this out of the slipcase. Here's the slipcase, by the way. This is the slipcase that is available. There are the other two books. I didn't think there was anything else in there. Nope, it's just the three books. So that is the slipcase. I know almost nothing about Fading Suns. Now, I did interview Bill Bridges, who is he's like the driving force, I believe, behind Fading Suns. I interviewed him at Gen Con. I want to say it was 2020 or 2019 when this was coming to Kickstarter. And it was kind of funny. He was very nice. And I was kidding around with him because, you know, his last name's Bridges. So I was joking how he was related to Lloyd Bridges and Bo Bridges and stuff like that. You know, me and my interviews, I can be a little silly. But I don't really know much about this except that it's supposed to be like space opera. And it is like there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I could be absolutely wrong, but that seems to be what I recall from our interview. So it says, a far future passion play. It is the 6th millennium. Humanity spread across stars and built a republic of advanced technology and universal emancipation, and then squandered it, fought over it, and lost it. As the light of the stars began to slowly fade, a new dark age descended upon the known worlds. Then, from the ashes of war and ruin, Emperor Alexius rose to power and ushered in a new era of hope. He calls now for brave knights, wise priests, and resourceful guilders to bring his peace to all the worlds, known and unknown. Character Book presents the game system and player characters for Fading Suns. In the victory point system, each player uses a single 20-sided die and a handful of victory point tokens to enact their characters' dramatic feats before the winds of fate. This book includes character creation rules for all the major factions, as well as technological equipment, starships, psychic powers, and theurgic rights. Callahan says it's like a swashbuckling space opera that draws inspiration from many classic sci-fi novels. Yeah, the thing I kind of got a vibe from it when I talked to Bill Bridges was Dune. That was the first thing that kind of popped in my head. So Flaming Heron says they're looking forward to the review of this. They have an older edition. It's like, Jeff, silly. No, not Jeff. I know. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, pretty much got it bang on. That's how, or at least how Flaming Heron looks at it. So it looks like we've got some kind of cool artwork. So I'm kind of curious. We're going to find out as we dive on in. Keeping in mind, we're not going to look at each and every page. It's a page through, but you know, by now we don't look at every page. And of course, I'm going to stay picture in picture up here. So I'm going to be cutting off a little bit of the book. So here's what I'm kind of curious about. And I like the Ulisses Spiele stuff. I've talked about Torg before, and I've reviewed some Torg stuff. It's been a while. Some of the stuff that's been out for quite some time. What I'm curious about here is the art. I'm curious about the art style because one thing that I find with Ulisses Spiele is, although the artwork is good, it tends to be bland. Think of if you've seen The Dark Eye. The artwork is good, but not much going on in it. right? So I'm kind of curious. Here's another thing that I thought was kind of odd. If you go to DriveThruRPG and you look for the credits for the character book, like the writers and artists, they're not listed. I was like, what? So let's give some credit to the authors. So game design and book development, Bill Bridges, right? I was just talking about Bill. Authors, Jacqueline Brick. I know I'm going to mispronounce all these people's names. Brian Campbell. Okay, that's one I won't. Peter Edlund, James Estes, Andrew Greenberg, Andy Harmon, Christopher Howard, Sam Inabene, Ian Lemke, Chris Leitz. I would say this font is not conducive to trying to read it from like above, like way back here. Let's see. James Malazewski, Bill Maxwell, Rustin Quaid, Sasha Schnitzer, and Bill Bridges. There we go. All right. So we've got our artists, we've got play testers, dedication, so on and so forth. All right, so let's jump on in. So it's talking about how it's the one of 3 core books. So we get the rules. My assumption here is that this is going to be like, we tend to see the like trilogy of books, the core books that we tend to see with many role-playing games, where all of the rules are going to be located in this book, as opposed to, well, some of the rules to run the game are in the player's book, and then the rules that the game master needs to have are in the game master's book. That we don't see that much anymore. Usually it's the player book is the book that's got all of the rules. So we'll see. Aha. So that looks like that's a little different than we're used to seeing, or at least I'm used to seeing in Ulisses Spiele books. So that's got a little different vibe to it. Okay, so gameplay. Let's see what we can find here. The basics. What are you going to do? Action. How does that work in the rules? Traits. Did you actually do it? A goal roll. So the action, skill, and characteristic ratings are added together to provide a goal number. You roll a single 20-sided die and hope to roll that number or less. You want the result to be as high as possible, but not higher than your goal number. I've been seeing that more often, where if you're rolling under, but you're trying to roll as close to your CR or whatever you want to consider it. I've been seeing that more often with rule sets. I find that kind of interesting. Where, before I was like, oh, critical hit on a 1. Or you're rolling percentile dice and it's like, oh, 5% chance of a critical hit. Oh, you rolled a 3. So it's a little bit different. How well did you do? Victory points. If the roll is successful, you gain a number of victory points equal to the roll result. So, example, Jasmina succeeded with a 7, so she gains 7 victory points. Wow, that's... So, Flaming Heron said, camera's still flickering. I didn't notice anything. I have not seen... But then again, I'm looking down at this book, so... I don't know. Yeah, I'm looking right now. I mean, usually by this point we're seeing like the colors screwing up in that, but I have not seen anything. Okay, so Flaming Heron said just one quick second, then nothing. All right, so and I'm not picking on Ulisses Spiele, but this is the like what I'm talking about. The artwork that's just like, eh. It's like, the artwork's fine. Technically, it's fine. It's just sort of, it's not inspiring. I guess that's what, but I think that's a European role-playing game thing. I could be wrong. All right, so we're talking about actions, dice. So you're going to use 20-sided dice, and then you use 6-sided dice. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. It says, unlike other RPGs, Fading Suns only uses the D20. Previous editions of the rules used handfuls of 6-sided dice, but this current edition has eliminated them in favor of the single elegant D20. Well, I don't know about that. There were some D20 releases that were not so elegant. And a host of victory points it awards, which come in the form of tokens. And I'm guessing you spend tokens to succeed at things? So something I had encountered is I had heard, like kind of through the grapevine, that previous editions of this, the setting is super cool, but the system was wonky. The system needed work. I'm kind of curious. So as we can see, it's obviously not the same system as previously because it just said you only use a D20. You're not using handfuls of D6s. So critical hits, critical misses. Okay, so here's the victory points. Victory points are the foundation and key concept of the rules. The system is called VPS. The victory point system, because it's all about players gaining victory points when their characters make successful rolls so they can spend those points for interesting results. So there you go. So then they get to sell those victory points for gains. That's what it looks like. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Having a bunch of tokens in front of you. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, that's why they're interested because the setting is fantastic. It's probably the thing actually with most of Ulisses Spiele's games. But yes, they tend to have systems that are wonky. Like Torg. I think Torg is super interesting. I think it's very difficult to pull off a meta plot, but I find it to be very interesting. But the actual system to the game itself, I don't find very elegant. Using cards and dice and yeah, it just, to me, it's just a little too much busy work to play a game. And once again, like I said, I like Torg, but just like Flaming Heron, I like Torg for the setting more than I do the actual system behind it. So here we've got characters. Let's see what we've got. Character creation. So I see these are just religious figures. Form the troop. Your character doesn't go alone. They're part of a troop, an ensemble of characters. The other players will each have a character. The other players will each have a character in this troop. So you are going to form the troop, come up with character concepts, choose your species, choose your class, your upbringing, choose your faction, choose your calling, then equipment. And it looks like we have a life path or custom method. Seeing a lot of these life path concepts for rolling up characters. So we have a quick start character concept chart. So that is the kind of like a kind of like a lion creature with 4 arms. Another thing I thought I had heard about this game is class system comes into play quite a bit. So like a caste system. So we've got noble callings, knightly orders. So you can be a lord. Incognito. I'll take a guess. Incognitos are rogues. Ronin, however you want to pronounce it. I always say Ronin. a questing knights. So we have your sect apprenticeship. So we have priest callings. Of course, I am jumping pages here too. So you got the monk, the occultist, the scribe. I think these are like kind of like priest classes. Quantum Phase Dragon has swung on in, asking, what are we looking at? We are looking at the character book for the 4th edition of Fading Suns from Ulisses Spiele. So merchant callings, banker, bounty hunter. That's merchants? Okay. Bounty hunter, chainer, detective, imperial cohort, imperial cohort. I swear, all that is in here is diet soda. There's nothing else. Jeez, Jeff must be liquored up. He can't even say cohort. What the hell's wrong with him? Kathy mentions they saw the Kickstarter for this earlier today. Yes, this kickstarted a while back, and I do believe that it took a bit of time. Now, I don't think this is brand new. I take that back because I don't think this book is available yet. You know, just standalone as a hardcover. I think it arrives this month. So the Flaming Hunt's like, yeah, Jeff's not going to admit that he's drinking. Yep. Yeah, that's it. Getting all snockered up. So we have yeoman. Not all freemen belong to a guild. Some have either lost their guild affiliation or never had one to begin with. And those independent agents are called yeomen. Okay. So it looks like we've got quite a lot of character options here. And then we have rules if you want to just create your own absolutely custom character. So, oh, the Madman's got to go. Ooh, for bad news. Sorry to hear that, Madman. My condolences. All right, moving right along. Let's see what we've got here. Traits. So it seemed as if, according to what we saw, kind of discussing the rule system, traits are going to give you like a number that you're going to add your characteristic, like your, what I assume is your attributes. You're going to combine those together, and that's what you need to roll under in order to succeed, and then you score the victory points that you get to spend, I guess. So a few of these. Alien friend, alien upbringing. Armed to the teeth. Born under a lucky star. Cleansing word. Have a contact. Contortionist. Debauchery. There you go. Daredevil. Deliverance. Friends in high places. Gambler. Harmonize. So it's telling us the class, privilege, and precondition. So let's take one of the shorter ones. Okay, so householder. So a precondition is you have to be a yeoman. You work for a noble house, but you're not an actual member of the family. You might be a servant, seneschal, or bodyguard. This allows you some privileges with regards to that house. You are considered to be a freeman in voluntary employee to the house. You gain +2 goal to perform persuasion influence rolls against members of that house. Once per act, you can evoke your employer's name and gain a favorable roll on an influence attempt. Okie doke. I am getting the feeling that the game system is going to be fiddly. It's a word that people like to use. It's just the impression I'm getting. Now, that may not be the case at all. It just could, it could just turn out to be, well, it's different. And that doesn't make it bad. Not every role-playing game has to be, a D20, and all the rest of your polyhedral dice getting thrown in. So it doesn't have to, everything doesn't have to be a D20 resolution. Although although different, you're rolling under, you're not rolling over. So here we go. All these traits, there are quite a lot of traits there. So then we have resistance. It says, explained in chapter 1, characters have 3 types of resistance: body, mind, and spirit. There's no base resistance rating for any of the 3 types. Instead, characters have various means of increasing them. Okay, so talking about raising your resistance. Then we jump into, I don't think this is resistance again, maneuvers. Talking about academia, charm. Drive. So now these look like these are just kind of like skills. Fight, focus. So I am going to say that this looks like we've got some crunchy rules as well. Maybe not the core system itself, but it looks like we've got like a lot that the game master is going to have to wrap their head around with all the various traits. Looks like the various different skills. We have combat specialties. Just kind of popping through. Now it looks like we've got some equipment. Yep, so we got all different kinds of equipment here. Computer networks, devices, transports. Then we have occult. So what is occult? Is it like psionics? This is the occult. A mysterious universe. With the fall of the Second Republic, humanity's age of reason also came to an end. In its place arose superstitions of all sorts. In many cases, once unfounded fears were now quite well-founded. That's nice. Interesting. This setting does seem pretty wild. Looks pretty interesting here. As we've said before, Ulisses Spiele just has a habit of having some pretty interesting settings. Their downfall tends to be their game systems. Don't get me started on the Dark Eye. It's like, all right, you got to roll 3d20. And you got these 3 attributes that they're part of this skill. And yep. And it took them, how long for them to finally release the magic book in English? But the Dark Eye is really popular, especially in Germany. It outsells, I don't know if it still does, but it used to outsell D&D and Pathfinder. So then we're going to wrap up with a character sheet and a reference sheet. Nice. I will point out that the paper stock is nice and thick. This is not cheaply produced, I'll tell you that much. Now I'm kind of curious. I'm surprised there is not a bookmark. That's unusual. That's almost a given with books out of Europe, right? So Flaming Heron says, hard to judge it without reading in depth. In depth. Once again, it's like, what's going on here? It's like the brain and the mouth are not in sync tonight. Hard to judge it without reading in depth. Yeah, I agree. I'm just throwing out, stream of consciousness here. What I'm, what's popping in my head as I'm looking through. This looks like a very nice book. This looks like it could be really interesting. I'll tell you that right now. And as far as character options, it is just jam-packed with them. So you can't tell me that players are going to be like, oh, yeah, well, I can't create the kind of character I want. Oh, I think that'd be highly doubtful because this is just absolutely jam-packed with character options. So pretty sweet. Flaming Heron says, well, they throw everything into their systems, even the kitchen sink. Flaming Heron says they were hoping for something that seemed a little simpler. Yeah, the kitchen sink thing, yeah, you're kind of right on that. So, at least from my experience with the Dark Eye and Torg, I believe you are correct with that kitchen sink assessment. All right, so this is the character book for 4th edition Fading Suns from Ulisses Spiele. Once again, this clocks in at 316 pages. This hardcover carries an MSRP of $49.99. I believe it's available this month. Now, the other two books, the Game Master book and the Universe book, are both available in hardcover. I saw over on the Ulisses Spiele US sites. It's this one that is not out yet, which I thought was kind of odd. Maybe it's another print run they're waiting on, something like that. You can also get the slipcase set for an MSRP of $129.99. That includes the character book, Game Master book, and Universe book. Or if you want to just grab the PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Of course, I will have a review of the character book for 4th edition Fading Suns in the near future. And now I saw the little hiccup. Did see the hiccup in the camera above. And what I had noticed is if I bring up the software for the capture device that the Sony camera is connected to and then shut it off, then it seems like the camera's okay. I don't know. It was behaving mainly. So, yep. What can I tell you? All right, that's what happens. It's a live show. It's what happens. All right, that is it for this time out. And of course, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Also let you know when I upload other videos, such as today's review of Empire of the Ghouls for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons from Cobalt Press. Find out what I think about it. Give you a hint. I like it. It's good. I like. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody who's watching live, thank you very much. Always appreciate people taking time out to check out the stream. Of course, if you took part in chat, That is much more appreciated because you're keeping me company so I don't feel like a complete doofus. And I also know a lot of people don't have an opportunity to watch live. So, regardless if it's live or on Memorex, thank you so much for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. All right, I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to take a look at the Game Master book for 4th edition Fading Suns. This is a lot smaller. I don't even think this clocks in at 100 pages, to be honest with you. So we'll be taking a look at this tomorrow. And I'm assuming this has got some background information about the universe, as well as how to run effective adventures of Fading Suns 4th edition. So we'll find out. All right. So I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. And of course, as always, here's hoping each and every one of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.